next show we're going to be talking about is Shokugeki no Soma San no Sara, or Food Wars, the third plate.
Yes! I love everything about the show. If you all have not seen the previous 2 seasons that I've talked about, it's just, yes, this show is awesome. If you ever find yourself sitting down and watching Food Network for any reason, you will probably enjoy this if you watch anime as well, because it's the culmination of both. It's like if we take Food Network and put it into anime form, that's what Shokugeki is, and it's just awesome. Obviously, they go a little bit more than what your average Food Network show would do, both in, they actually give you details about the characters themselves and the people involved. And sometimes people have orgasmic experiences while eating some of the food. But it is still an awesome show to watch. Anyone out there who's a food lover, who can appreciate ingenuity and just the idea behind it. I mean, it's just so fun to watch. And the dude, even though the main characters can be kind of, pompous and, I've got this, I think he's still kind of the underdog, and you have that underdog feeling where you want to root for him, you want to see him succeed. And I think they do a really good job at basically making it to where he doesn't always succeeds, but he gets really close. And, that's those instances where you're just looking at him going, hell yeah, that's freaking awesome. And the things he does and the things you see other people do. And honestly, and it wasn't until recently that I saw this too. There was actually something I saw online where there is actually an ice cream shop who is using liquid nitrogen to make their ice cream.
I think I've heard of that.
And they even have cheese balls that they make or whatever using liquid nitrogen. So when you eat them, steam will come out of your nose, from the liquid nitrogen and everything. It's freaking cool to see and everything. But and there was a character in Shokugeki, is when I was saying this, who was actually very technological in their food creations and everything. And she was using liquid nitrogen. She did other things involving, and it's very into different techniques, ways of cooking, different approaches, and yeah, it's just awesome in all sorts of forms. Definitely a comedy. I would kind of rate it up there as a slice of life too, because you're following this one kid and his dreams of becoming a master chef essentially, and outdoing his father, who's a world-renowned chef. And it's not in a bad way. It's they've always had a competition between the two of them, and he just wants to be able to do better, and kind of exceed his father's expectations, kind of thing. And it's just so fun to watch. Nail biting all the time, because you just they amp it up so much, and if you fail, then you get expelled from the school, and people have lost during these Shokugeki tournaments. They've even people have lost their prized possessions. It's basically because they put everything on the line. Okay. They someone lost their prized knife set that had been passed down to them from their family through generations, because they lost one of the Shokugeki bouts, and that's what happened. It's everything that was responsible for them being a chef. And so you get some really high competitive people who are really trying to give it their all, and sometimes they get barely inched out by something. So yeah, highly looking forward to this, man. This is another one with Natsume. They could make 20 seasons of this and I'd still watch it.
Well,
and on that note,
not to put too much of a damper on it, I can't watch this show.
It's the ecchi part of it that does it for you.
Yeah, it kills it so bad. I
have to say, if you're facing it on just that first episode, it's after they hit the peak moment. They hit the peak moment, and then it drops down, and then they'll have another one later on, 2 or 3 episodes after that, and then it'll drop back down again. And it's a roller coaster with that. So it's it's not a constant, but it is there.
It's I totally get that. It's just, so even my wife Ray, she's watching it. And I'm sitting here like working on a show or like editing and doing stuff like that. And then I hear the parts that you're talking about, and they're like, oh, I've used this ingredient and I've done it like this. And they're like, oh my God, that was so amazing. I didn't even think of that. And then like 5 minutes later, then it's just like, ah! And I'm like, what the hell? And I turn over and like some girl's like glowing gold and she's like upside down and like drooling. And I'm like, what in the world? And then like it would end, just like you said. And then they go to the next person, like two characters be arguing. They're like, no, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden I hear, whoa. And I turn and like a sumo wrestler is like just grabbing his crotch and drooling. And I'm like, what in the world? And then that would end and it would go away. And then they come back and then like a whole episode would be just like character development. And they'll be talking about all these different things. And it's like, I'm not like watching it. I'm just hearing it. And I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. And it'd go on for like a couple episodes. And then all of a sudden, and I'm like, so I'm like, I get why everybody loves the show. It's just, I can't. It's like, okay, we're doing good. Edgy. Back on the road. Okay, we're doing good. So,
it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
So, yeah,
it's not for everyone. Granted, but I think for those who can get beyond the ecchi moments that happen throughout it, and then just really whoever really appreciates like cooking and food shows like that and the ideas that they come up with and things that they do. And if you have the idea of like, rooting for the underdog and everything, this is definitely an anime worth checking out.
I absolutely agree on that, like that point, because in the first episode where it's like the guy, like they were coming to take the restaurant or something like that, and he like challenged them to cooking or something like that, and he just grabbed some scraps and just made like this amazing food. So like it's a really, really cool show. It's just,
and he like the techniques that he used, or he made like, was it like pseudo meat where it wasn't really meat, but he cooked it and made it in such a way that it actually seemed like it was, and it like when it cut into it, it was juicy like good cooked meat would be. Yeah. And you're just looking at it, just going, wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So for most people, this is a crazy amazing show. Just like he says, just like the Food Channel. Like I actually know somebody that I'm gonna recommend this show to now because I see him like streaming the Food Network on Twitch, so I'm gonna recommend that show for him. But
see, that just kind of goes back to what we've always talked about before, where like anime is such a broad genre now at this point. It's such a broad media that it really, people I don't think should turn away from it. It's just a matter of finding that specific one or that type, that genre in it that actually appeals to you.
Yeah.
And there's almost always going to be something for everybody.
Yes, there are thousands and thousands of shows out there. There's definitely like a handful of two that would be perfect for you. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's like, again, if you like food, you like watching Food Network and the different food techniques they come up with and things that they do, crazy things that they do. I've seen some Food Network shows where they come up with like recipes, and I'm looking at it going, how did you do that? How did you actually create food out of what you were given? Because they'd have like a challenge, like, okay, you can't use this, or this. Create a meal. Create this meal, and then at the end of it, you're looking at it going, wow, they actually did it.
Yeah.
And it's just what this is. Who was it? There was one where they had to create some French dish, but they had to actually go and get the ingredients themselves. And what I mean, they actually had to go, like, there was a forest nearby. You had to go get your own fish. You had to get your own produce. Everything you had to go and actually forage and get yourself if you were going to use it. And it was just like, and if you could not pass it, if you could not pass this challenge, then you were expelled. And it was like,
oh wow.
Yeah.
I think I remember you say, oh Jesus.
Yeah. So it was on the line. It's like, if you cannot actually go and get your own material, own recipe for this stuff and actually create what I have created using, he was like, oh, I use materials that I had here, but you can't use those. You have to use things that you actually find.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, then you're going to be expelled. I mean, it's a no holds bar. It's crazy.
Yeah. it kind of borders like I want it to be realistic, like the other robotics note that I fell in love with, and I really don't want it to be like. I guess it's good for. Well, it's like I don't want it to be like a. I'm curious, like how long have they been in this situation? Is like, is the entire world messed up, or is just they're in the center of a vast area and like it's been fenced off, so